Breakups are often the symptom of problems in a relationship. My workbook series, The Knowledge, is focused on helping you change your life in 4 key areas: retaining the information that I teach, personal growth, improving your relationships, and of course, re-attracting your ex. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about, is she a rebound? Well, a lot of times after a breakup, our exes will go into a rebound relationship. They will start dating somebody new right away, sometimes immediately after, because a breakup is tough on them too. But because they've known for a while that they were unhappy and they wanted to end the relationship, they're kind of looking at it from a different perspective, where we, on the receiving end of the being dumped, it feels helpless. But for them, they are feeling more of a freedom initially after breaking up with somebody. And so they automatically start to explore other options. A lot of times they are already looking for other options when they haven't been happy for some time. Now, of course, some people have more integrity than others in relationships. Some won't do anything until they've officially broken up. Some will start talking as friends. And of course, some will just flat out start cheating on you and hooking up with somebody else, and then they end the relationship once they know that there's somebody else there for them. So, if you think about it from a biological perspective, human beings do not like to be alone. It's scary. It feels like our life is in danger. But the more secure that you are, the more likely that you can stay by yourself and don't stay with other people just because you're scared of being alone. Being afraid to be alone can cause you to be in a lot of unhealthy relationships. And so, if your ex and you have been together, let's just say you've been together for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they're scared to be alone, they're going to look for that rebound. They're going to look for somebody new to get them excited, to get that lust, because a lot of times people will get all those chemicals released, the oxytocin and the dopamine, and so they get excited about that, and then it helps them with the breakup because they're no longer feeling that loss and that pain. They're so excited about the new thing. But that's lust. And so oftentimes you'll see that when they leave you and they start to date somebody else right away, it very rarely works. Of course, it does happen sometimes, but most of the times, that relationship isn't going to last that long, because this is really built on lust and not any kind of attachment. Attachment is a whole separate ball game, right? But attachment is really the basis for love, right? You can't have love without attachment. And so when somebody leaves you and it looks like, oh, that's it, they found this new person, they look so happy on Instagram and Twitter and MySpace and whatever the heck it is that they're on together, well, let's face it, you'll start to see the pictures disappear after maybe 4 months, or no longer posting all these happy, excited pictures together. Why? Because the lust is starting to fade. And then comes the reality of, oh, I just left this person who I really loved and cared about for this other thing, and they didn't turn out to be anything like I expected. Could be a real wake-up call, and oftentimes you are the very first person that they think about. How do I know? Because it's happened to me. I've lived it, and I see it over and over and over again. You guys have to understand that your perspective on what you see is so much different than from what I see behind the scenes. So I can tell you that many, many times we have our partner leave us for somebody else to make them feel good, to make them feel safe, to focus on something that's exciting, and then it falls apart, and you've been doing all this work, you've been growing, you've been changing, and when they come and revisit you and they see this whole new version of you, they're oftentimes blown away, And a lot of times you'll find that you're underwhelmed by their inability to have grown since the breakup. Especially people that are watching my channel that are growing by leaps and bounds, right? You guys are doing tremendous amounts of work, and so your ex comes along and they don't recognize you, but you're looking at them like, I don't know if I want to go back to this. And you feel so much better when you're in that position and things have turned around, right? So, I've got a good email today with somebody that is going through a situation, and they're wondering if their ex is now in a rebound situation. By the way, add me on Instagram and Twitter. I've been posting funny little breakup pictures and stuff like that, memes on Instagram. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way YouTube gives you a notification whenever I release a new video. So let me get into today's email. This is from a woman, and she's sharing her situation. She says, "Hi Craig, my ex-boyfriend and I had been dating for about 7 years, with 3 breakups. We were younger when we first started dating, and about 2 years into the relationship, he broke up with me for no reason." Now when you say no reason, I'm assuming you meant between you and him, you felt like there was no reason. He obviously had a reason, right? Now maybe you didn't do anything to cause the reason. It may have not been your fault, but he had his own reasons. Other than he needed time to figure things out. See, he was probably feeling like things were going a little too intense for him and he couldn't handle it. So that was his reasoning. Then we got back together for 4 years. Then I moved away due to physical and verbal abuse from my stepfather, and I had to move to my grandparents, which was about 8 hours away. So she had to get out of there because she was no longer safe. How scary is that? Good for you for doing that. Unfortunately, it had a huge impact on your relationship, but you got to get out of a dangerous situation. Guys, if any of you are in a situation where you're being physically or verbally abused, please get away. Get yourself to safety, whatever that means for you, okay? It was only for 1 year. My ex-boyfriend, anyhow, then he ended it with me again because he couldn't handle the distance. Some people can't handle long distance. Some people can. It just depends upon each person. I moved back in January of this year. We still weren't back together, but in March, he decided to come back and wanted me back, and he left at the very end of May, beginning of June, but still wouldn't put me as a priority. He would go out and drink with his buddies. I begged for his attention, and I asked all the time if we were in a good place, and he said yes. Okay, so this isn't fair to you because he's spending all of his time with his friends and his drinking buddies. You're begging for his attention. He's not giving it. Then you're saying, well, what's going on here? Are we in a good place? And he's saying yes. It's not adding up. He's not being honest with you about what's really going on with him. Maybe he just wants to go party and drink. And if that's his desire, then so be it. But you're just saying, what's going on between us, and he's not being authentic. He would tell to stay in the house when he came. Okay, this is what happens when you guys rush to send me an email. Guys, when you do an email coaching, take your time. Sit down and write it. Okay? There's always going to be emails ahead of you. It's not like you're going to send me the email and I'm going to get to it right then and there. I have Skypes all day, and I have a lot of email coachings that I have to get to. Please take your time and break it down to small paragraphs using punctuation. Because then when I try and do your email in a video, I sound like a nut job. Okay? Because this is what he said, or she said. He would tell to stay in the house when he came by the house to get supplies for work. The latest breakup, he told me this wasn't forever, just that he needed time and space to work on himself and the drinking problem he has. Great. If he's going to do that and really work on that, It's exactly what you need. But he still loves me and always would. Then I didn't listen. Texted and called him thousands of times, and he replied with, "We have nothing in common, and that we should find other people, and that he wasn't going to come back, and he doesn't know the future." Ouch. That's kind of dismissive on his part, and if he really felt like that you guys had nothing in common, he certainly could have said it in a nicer way than that. But, like I said a minute ago, you called him 1,000 times, and he probably tried to be nice for many of them and just got frustrated and fed up that you weren't hearing what he was trying to say. Okay. I figured it was because he was angry. Oh, I'm sure he was angry. He did reach out many times during the first month of no contact, but I never replied to his messages. Now, you know she didn't get that advice from me, because I don't tell you guys to ignore your ex, even if it's within 30 days, okay? I don't preach that. I think it's a foolish decision to ignore somebody when they're reaching out to you and they're possibly trying to repair things, right? After 30 days, or however somebody tells you to do no contact, which is not what I teach, by the way. I teach not reaching out, okay? If somebody breaks up with you, you don't reach out, but you don't ignore them. I don't know why people teach you to ignore somebody, but I just don't think it's a good way about, or an adult way of handling a relationship that needs repair, okay? I'm willing to bet she got that from somewhere else. After the month went by, he started blocking and unblocking me and talking to my mom. Some of their conversations are productive, talking about work, because they're in the same work area. It's the same kind of business. Then he goes on to tell her he bought all new equipment for work and asking how things are going, my dogs, and my life in general. So he's still wondering about you, and he's probably using his mom, or your mom, to kind of get the lowdown of what's going on. I went on Facebook to see that he is with someone else. He changed his profile picture. That hurts. Even if the profile picture didn't have you in it, it still hurts. Isn't it weird? I'm sure many of you guys have gone through this. If you have, share your comments, because I know when my ex took and switched their profile picture, it killed me inside. Even though I wasn't in the picture, it really hurt, because it just felt like you didn't know that person anymore, and you didn't feel like you knew what was going on with them anymore. I don't know if you guys feel like that, but that's how I felt. He'd never do before, even when we were at our best, because it was a business Facebook account, and he wanted to keep it strictly for work. And we've only been apart for under 2 months. Okay, so he's already dating somebody else and posting pictures with her, it sounds like. Yeah. I don't know if you didn't say specifically if he changed the status or he just changed the picture, other than you said, I went on Facebook to see that he's with someone else. He changed his profile picture, so maybe he did both. Regardless, you could see that there's another woman in the picture right now, and it's been less than 2 months. I don't know if this woman was somebody new that he just met, or if it was somebody that he had been talking to and used the breakup, and it broke up with you so he could start dating this other woman, right? Please help me get him back. He's the love of my life. Now, that's a dangerous thing to say here. He is the love of my life. I know we often feel like that, but when you have that belief and you say that to yourself, it causes you to stay in situations that are unhealthy. So I would ask you guys to really consider what that really means, and how putting a label on something like my soulmate or my twin flame or the love of my life will cause you to stay with somebody who's unhealthy, even abusive or toxic. Everything in me is saying she is a rebound, and it won't last long, and then I'll be back. Please give me some tools on how I can get him back, and if he will come back. I can't stop crying, and my family doesn't understand how or why I'm feeling the way I am. Please help me. I'm dying here. I haven't eaten in 3 days and can barely sleep at night. Well, okay, let's put things in perspective here first of all. He wasn't exactly being boyfriend of the year here because he was ignoring you. You were begging for his attention, and instead of giving it to you, he wanted to go out, drinking with his friends, and wasn't really making you a priority. And you can't force somebody to make you a priority in their life. If somebody doesn't listen to your needs or wants, and when you share them to them, they don't care, you can't force them to care. Okay? You gotta focus on your needs. And if they're not going to give them to you and you repeatedly ask, then it's probably a situation you should think about as being unhealthy for you, or a situation that's going to make you feel bad inside. Because he was making you feel bad inside. And I understand that you may love him and you may be attached to him, but if you get back with him and it stays the way where he's ignoring you, going out drinking, and not making you a priority, you're just going to continue to hurt. So you got to keep that in mind here and recognize that this relationship needs an overhaul from both of you. You're going to have to work on yourself. You're going to have to learn to communicate better, to manage your anxiety better, and you both are going to have to work on understanding each other's needs more. This new girl, it sounds like a rebound to me. You know, you guys are barely broken up, and he started dating her right away. Sure, that does sound like a rebound, and it probably won't last long. So you want to take as much time as you can in focusing on who you want to be and what kind of relationship you want to create with this guy. And if he comes back and just continues to mistreat you, you got to treat yourself better than that and say, you know what, I love you, but this isn't working, and if you can't make some changes with me here, then I'm going to have to walk away from this situation and find yourself at peace instead of worrying and wondering and feeling like you're not good enough all the time because he's out partying and not making you and your relationship a priority. So hopefully you will really consider that and understand that while you made mistakes here, so did he. And that this relationship was unhealthy for both of you. And you want to create a healthy relationship. And when he breaks up with this other girl, he's going to likely reach out. And then you can explore that and see if you guys can come together, act like adults, and make it work. So, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching, I do Skype coaching, and if you got to get with me right away, I do offer emergency Skype coaching. Margaret is also available for Skype coaching. She is absolutely amazing. You'll love her. And my workbooks are now available. You can be sure to get on my mailing list that's on my website on the bottom of the home page, because I'm going to send out a small sample of what the work. Check out what they look like. I'm going to do that real soon, so get on the mailing list ASAP. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon. I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net.